prevalent scientific mainstream view is that materialism defines our world, universe, our reality. Wikipedia explains materialism as a form of philosophical monism which holds that matter is the fundamental substance in nature, and that all things, including mental aspects and consciousness, are results of material interactions. Is this analysis an incorrect assumption? Could consciousness be front and centre to our reality? Can it directly affect physical matter? Can we manifest our own reality? Not only individually, is it possible for the co-creative consciousness to be able to influence reality and the future as a collective global species, defining who we are and our future? Has this latent immense power been co-opted, twisted, and manipulated, forcing humanity to create a less than perfect tranquil existence? Defined simply, manifesting is the ability to create your desires from wealth, health, love, and peace of mind. It's been reported Nikola Tesla utilised the technique frequently in the form of visualization to assist him in inventing groundbreaking machines. Bernard Carlson, in his book Tesla, Inventor of the Electrical Age, explored Tesla's visualization abilities. In conjuring up these schemes, Tesla realised the power of his ability to generate mental images. Not only could he use his imagination to undertake fantastic journeys, but he could also direct his talent toward creating new machines. I observed to my delight that I could visualise with the greatest facility. I needed no models, drawings, or experiments. I could picture them as real in my mind. Moreover, for Tesla, working with mental images meant he could concentrate on identifying and exploring the ideal behind the invention. Many successful public figures have admitted to using the law of attraction to further their career. Jim Carrey has spoken very openly about its use in his life.
That you used to go up on Mulholland Drive and park
every night
and visualize seeing yourself as...
Yeah, I would visualize,
This is when you were broke and poor.
You know, right, having directors interested in me and people that I respected saying, you know, I like your work or whatever that is. And I would visualize things coming to me that I wanted or whatever.
This was in like 1987, 85?
Yeah. And I had nothing at that time, so it was like, but it just made me feel better. It made me, at that time, all it really was for me was kind of making me feel better. I would drive home and think, well, I do have these things, and they're out there. I just don't have a hold of them yet, but they're out there.
Okay, so you would get this from what, self-help books or whatever?
Yeah, self-help section.
Self-help section.
They've renamed it the Jim Carrey wing.
So didn't you write yourself a check? I heard that you did. Is that true?
I wrote myself a check for $10 million for acting services rendered, and I gave myself 5 years, or 3 years maybe, and I dated it Thanksgiving 1995, and I put it in my wallet, and I kept it there, and it deteriorated and stuff, but then just before Thanksgiving 1995, I found out that I was going to make $10 million on, I think it was Dumb and Dumber, maybe.
Dumb and Dumber, yeah. So you visualize yourself like...
Given its evidence from individuals of its power and potency, is there a way scientifically to confirm its existence? Probably not directly, but there is wealth of evidence to suggest consciousness in the materialist sense isn't the result of material interactions, but consciousness and thought has power to influence the material world. Masaru Emoto is a Japanese doctor of alternative medicine who became fascinated with magnetic resonance analysis technology. Around 1994, he and his team discovered they could influence the shape of microscopic water crystals of frozen distilled water by exposing the water to positive prayers, pictures, music, or words. Universally, they found the more positive the image, sound, or word, the more beautiful and coherent the water structure would be. Alternatively, the more negatively the freezing water was treated, the frozen crystals would be erratic, confused, and devoid of beauty and structure. For balance, the mainstream has been critical of how the experimentation was carried out and largely hostile to his findings. But there is a Dr. Emoto experiment that anyone can replicate at home, and involves taking 2 glass jars and filling each one with cooked rice. Every day you give absolute love and positivity towards one jar, the other, complete contempt and hate. The results are striking, with the negative rice jar being dark in colour and covered in mould. The book, Biocentralism, How Life and Consciousness Are the Keys to Understanding the True Nature of the Universe, written by Bob Burnham an American astronomer, and Robert Lanza, a scientist, discuss how mainstream physics fails to include the theoretical inference of consciousness into the equation when attempting to understand the universe. Traditionally, the scientific view is that we are merely observers of the surrounding material world. The double slit experiment presented in the book details that a proton can act as both a wave or a particle depending on whether or not it's been observed. The act of observation directly influences the proton's behaviour at a quantum level. They bring into question whether all scientific experiments to some degree could be influenced by the strong intent of involved scientists hoping for a particular outcome. For more detail on this experiment, a link will be posted in the description below. The double slit experiment gives a hint at consciousness being able to affect matter at the quantum level. But can this be scaled up? What collectively can consciousness achieve? The Transcendental Meditation Organization over the years has regularly tested scientifically the impact of group meditations on the overall consciousness of surrounding towns and cities. From the 7th to the 20th of June, 1993, a group of around 800 started to meditate every day together in unison in Washington, D.C. As the experiment progressed, this number swelled to upwards of 4,000 people. The result towards the end was a 23.3% reduction in violent crime across the city. And this was after a general steady increasing trend. The police chief at the time said the only thing that would usually create a 20% drop was 20 inches of snow. Admittedly, these cited experiments are only very loosely related to the idea of manifesting one's dreams, but it provides us an indication that the mind is much more powerful than we are led to believe. The Kabbalion book, which stems from the ancient tradition of Hermeticism, was written by an Egyptian sage called Hermes. Hermes came up with the 7 sacred principles, which many view as exploring the mechanics of manifesting. The principle of mentalism, the principle of correspondence, the principle of vibration, the principle of polarity, the principle of rhythm, the principle of casualty, the principle of gender. The first principle of mentalism, the all is mind, the universe is mental. The second principle of correspondence, as above, so below, as within, so without, as the universe, so the soul, is interpreted to mean everything is connected. Life on Earth, the solar system are just larger manifestations of what goes on at a cellular and atomic level. So as we have seen, the human mind can affect these quantum levels directly. The third principle of vibration. Nothing rests. Everything moves. Everything vibrates. The Law of One book, compiled after extensive channeling sessions with an extraterrestrial intelligence by academics, helped them understand the mystery and history of our universe. The following extract from the book is very relevant to the concept of manifesting. The bringing of what we perceive at any level of consciousness into the physical or tangible experience. Going back to the original hypothesis, given all this, could this immense power have been co-opted, twisted, and used to steer humanity unwittingly towards a particular future? Predictive programming is the idea that theories and events are seeded into the mainstream consciousness via the media to help normalize unpalatable world events and agendas. Film and TV in the treatment of the future has a tendency to paint a dystopian future for humanity. Even the subject of extraterrestrials is treated for the majority as a threatening, invasive subject matter. Many researchers have pointed out the huge prevalence, discussion, and content surrounding artificial intelligence and the transhumanism agenda. With the fusion of technology into biological consciousness, assisting humanity to attain immortality. But could this be the final nail in the coffin for humanity's freedom as we are locked into an artificial system? Could a blanket barrage of media attention normalise and increase levels of acceptance and inevitability of transhumanism? The glorification of war, violence, the constant drive to demonise, create enemies, competition, perpetuate a never-ending war cycle. The simplistic labelling of society, left-right, baby boomer, millennial, men-women, black-white, the constant categorisation, labelling, drawing more and more lines in the sand, dividing us all into cliques, to bicker, to argue, creating more labels, more division, more instability. Conflict manifests more conflict. Does this operate to stunt us spiritually, hinder our growth, but also maintain a constant stream of revenue profit from war, conflict, blood, tears, and human suffering, keeping us all constantly distracted from the real issues. It is very possible, although difficult to prove conclusively, that these techniques are harnessing our collective consciousness to manifest these less than perfect realities. Can we find evidence for this from the covert world, the world of clandestine, above top secret black projects? Heather Sartain was the daughter of an aerospace engineer for Lockheed Martin, the late Edward Sartain. She appeared on Cosmic Disclosure on Gaia TV back in January 2017 with David Wilcock and Corey Good. She alleges that her father was deeply involved in the covert world. Aspects of her disclosure are very relevant to our conversation and involved her father and his work colleagues who would periodically get together at the Sartain's family home to discuss their work and attempt to decompartmentalise the projects they were collectively working on, building up a more complete picture of understanding. Heather stated, "These were things they talked about away from work, but they would share amongst each other. And these were things they were learning from the government. They all had military backgrounds. And these are things they would discuss because they are piecing parts together of things they had been exposed to. So they would talk about metaphysical things, energy, how it can be manipulated, how the population could actually change the rotation of this planet mentally. You can change the atmospheric conditions." Heather's story is anecdotal, but it provides a snippet of how powerful we really are. The vision, conflict, and suppression of our true potential prevent us all from realizing how the world should be: peaceful, plentiful, interstellar, and loving. Thank you so much for watching. This has been Reconsider. Please like and subscribe. And to continue supporting these videos, please donate to Patreon or PayPal. Thank you. Bye-bye.